Introduce yourself in a creative way. Door.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sumardi Ardesari. NIM 19 2300 hello guys. So today I will explain about self-introduction. All things considered, in this illustration you will figure out how to present yourself. In this way, how about we start with elements of self-introduction. The absolute first that you have to say while presenting yourself is hello. Start with good things. There are two sorts of hello. The first is formal good things, and the second is casual good things. Presently, you have a proper hello and you have a non-formal hello. It depends where you are, what is happening you are in. So, the point is, what is a self-introduction? Self-introduction is a type of expression and articulation utilized by people to present themselves. According to us personally, self-introduction is telling about yourself. That should be known by people who are new to us. Assuming that individual is in another climate. And then point two is steps to the self presentation in leading. Self presentation in English, there are a few things that should be passed on this release upon the circumstance conditions. Conversationalists in the general climate and interest. To do self presentations and so forth, it is done in an organized and methodical manner with the goal that the focus to be passed on can be processed well by the conversationalist. Self-introduction by and large use generally straightforward English, which we regularly find and use in daily existence as a general rule. In direction, self-presentation, there are few past ways, or one might say that the means that should be considered are: the first is opening, the second is content, and the third is shouting. To know more subtleties, how about we check out the audit of the means for self-presenting exhaustively beneath opening. In the opening area, by and large welcome and ask how individuals you meet eye to eye are doing. For instance, for example, is hello there everyone, hello there everybody, how is hanging with you, hello good morning or good afternoon or good evening, how are you? Or substance or content. Next is to enter to substance area. In any case, prior to going into content, there are things that should be passed on. To be specific objectives, state what your objectives and goals are before the questionnaire. The objective you need to pass on is to do self-presentations. Then, at the point, the words that can be passed on. For example, allow me to present myself, or I need to present myself. On this event, I want to present myself, or may I present myself? I'm here to present myself. From that point onward, go to the vitally content segment, which comprise of a few places, including individual subtleties. For this situation, you will get your complete name followed by an epithet. For example, is I Sumardi Ardesari. You can call me Sumardi. My name is Sumardi Arjasari. You can call me Sumardi. My complete name is Sumardi Arjasari. You can call me Philo. Please call me Philo. Components for the most part call me my name Novita. My name is Sumardi Arjasari. My companions for the most part call me Philo. Nation of beginning. Before going into the explanation, we first explain what is a state. The definition of state itself is an organization in which there are people, a permanent territory, and a legitimate government in a broad sense. The state is social, which is regulated constitutionally to release common interests. This point can be utilized as a choice, assuming you are familiar with an outsider. For instance, I come from Indonesia. Citizenship can be interpreted as the relationship between citizens and their country. This relationship can be in the form of giving status or identity, participation, right, obligation, or other reciprocal relationship. I'm Indonesian. According to Starr and Sudden 1991, self-identity is awareness of oneself that comes from observation and assessment, which are all aspects of self-concept as universal world, place, death, of birth, and furthermore, act, for instance, place and death of birth. For example, is I was born in Parepare, followed by the word in, for instance, I was born in 2001. I was born in Parepare, August 2. And the second is act. Definition of act itself is the time span since the presence of an individual and can be estimated using units of time according to a regular perspective. Typical people should be seen with a similar level alternation of physical and psychological events decide your act around them. For instance, example is I'm 20 years old or I'm 20 years old. And that is address. Your place of home, present location, for example, road names, etc. For union address. For example, is I'm from Parepare. Presently, I live in Parepare. My address is Lapade. It may notice from the three relational words, they will more often than not change. And then is job or study or school. A school is an establishment intended for the instruction or under studies or students under the oversight of instruction or educators. Most nations have proper instruction framework that is by and large compulsory with an end goal to make understudies who are advancing subsequent to encountering an interaction through learning. For example is I am student SMA Negeri 2 Parepare. Collect by referencing the name of the collect and mayor. For instance, is I'm collect in EIN Parepare or I'm right now pursuing in my major is Islamic banking. And then is hobby interest. The definition of a hobby or interest is a sport movement that will provide energy to calm everyone down. Can make reference to exercise you appreciate or hobby interest. For instance, My hobby is football or badminton. I some of the time go to the lake. I like this is on the grounds that is extremely quiet. My leisure activity is fishing funnies. I like to play ball with my friends. Shouting all things being equal, it close with a thing you trust and obviously shouting good things. Example is that is about me. I trust and I have blessed day. Much thank you. This is finish of my self presentation. I believe. And point the last is how to introduce yourself properly according to the steps described above. The first is self introduction, personal profile. Doing the first self introduction or initial meeting is done when we are in a conversation or situation where we are required to introduce a personal profile, at least name, nickname, address, and others. Examples are usually carried out within the scope of the organization. Of course, we are required to get to know each other, both new members and all members, which aim to build solidarity with fellow members. For example, hey everybody, on this session, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sumardar Sari. You can call me Ardi. I am the chill in my family, and I have three other siblings, and all of them are men. I was born in Parpare, April 28, 2001. Now I live in Parpare. My hobby is watching anime. One of my favorite anime is One Piece. When I have free time, I go for a walk to the beach because the beach is close to my house. My father occupation is a farmer, while my mother is a housewife. And the second self-introduction as a new student. In the scope of lectures, introducing yourself can be said to be an obligation because if we ourselves do not know the name of the lectures who is teaching, that is why every first lecture we are required to introduce ourselves to each other, but the lectures themselves and the students themselves at least we know the names of the lectures or the names of our friends. For examples below is the introduction of yourself as a student. Good morning everyone. My name is Sumardar Desari. You can call me Ardi. I am from Parepare of but now I live in Lapade. I am a new student at this university. I passed through the PMB Mandiri path. I was born in Rapang, a small town in South Sulawesi. On April 28, 2001, my hobby is playing badminton. If there is competitions, I will be happy to join it as long as it is related to my hobby. I thought it would be my first step in achieve my goal of becoming a famous badminton athlete. That's all I can tell about myself. Thank you and nice to meet you. Uh, Maybe that's all. I am Sumardar Desari. Let me say goodbye.